There we go. All right, welcome everybody. So today's session really is about touching on Assessment 1. We pretty much covered going through the different types of businesses and the different types of business forms. Assessment 1 is quite a bit of work, and that is why I want you to start early with it, because you're going to need to do quite a bit of, it's not, okay, let me be careful with my wording. I almost wanted to say it's not difficult. It's an assignment. It's an accounting assignment. If you're comfortable with numbers, you'll be comfortable with it. If you find numbers challenging, then it's going to be a bit challenging. But it's not to the point where it tries to catch you out to sort of try to fail you intentionally. At SACAP, the way we do assessments is very much assessment is part of the learning process. And if you're going to fail it, then, or we're going to try to catch you out with the assessments, then you're not going to learn anything. So take the assessment on its face. It's a good assessment. It will sort of challenge you a bit in some respects, but in other respects, it's literally matching columns and multiple choice questions. Now, if I look at how the assessment is broken down, so it's 20% is about foundational terminology, and that is the multiple choice questions. There's quite a few of them. And now, at the end of the day, I don't know whether you're using AI or whether you're using, find a function in a PDF to find the answers. You can do that. There is no way of catching you. There's no way of knowing. So those multiple choice questions, they are what they are. There's only one right answer, and you go through them, you look at them, and it's just about answering them. There's also the match the column, and again, there's only one answer for them. And some of you might look at them and go, why is this so easy? There's a complete waste of time. Just answer them. Those are the marks, and they're there for you to get. And then further, it gets a bit more interesting. That is where you start looking at the trial balance. That is where you start looking at financial statements. And then there's a little essay towards the end of it. So this is important, and I'm going to highlight this again and again. Please make sure that you do your calculations in Excel. Export those images. So you export the image of your final answer, and you paste it into Word. Please. You're still going to submit 2 documents. You're still going to submit the Excel file where all of your calculations are in and everything has been captured. But you're going to submit a Word document where everything is included in it as images. So for question 1 and 4, you're going to include images, 2 and 3 images inside of your document. I'm going to create a Word document for you, and that Word document you can use, and I'll put little instructions, paste answer to question 2 here, paste answer to question 3 here, and I'll make sure that the Word template is clear, you understand how to use it, and it's clear for you to be able to do. Now, please manage your Turnitin expectations, because at the end of the day, Turnitin is going to be very high. It's going to be between 50 and 70, if not higher, because if you got all of your answers right for the multiple choice and all of your answers right for the match the columns, then you will be one of many others that will have the same answers. So the Turnitin score will be very high. So just understand that, and I will do the work in understanding where there might be some issues. Obviously, if somebody submits a 99% Turnitin score, and I look at it and I go, no man, this is literally copied and pasted straight from somebody else's work, then obviously there'll be consequences. But I will do that checking for you. So don't worry about it too much. If you have a high Turnitin score, look at the report. If it's not the essay, if it's everything else, then you know that you are going to be okay. So there's 4 questions. Question 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I've given you, but I will include this presentation in today's recording. So question 1 is in SACAP, chapter 1, and a bit in marks as well, chapters 1 and 2. So there's a bit of a guideline there for you just to be able to find where to find the answers. Question 2, you'll find all the answers in SACAP chapter 1. Question 3, you'll find all the answers in SACAP chapter 11 and 13, especially detailed guidance on how to prepare the financial statements. And then deliverable 4, or question 4, is in marks, chapters 1, 2, and 3. And you can have a look at that, uses and purposes of financial statements analysis. So I hope that will give you a bit of a guideline so that you can, as you start working on the questions, you can go to those sections immediately. So question 1 is the multiple choice questions. It's all of them. It's about asset characteristics. What is it? Is it a fixed asset? Is it a current asset? Is it an intangible asset? The accounting process, the definitions of accounting, recording and reporting, and then also the different type of business entities that we covered off last week. The differences between sole props, partnerships, companies, where does liability sits, as well as the legal standing of those business structures. And then financial classification, which is question 2. And if you look at question 2, it says the task is to classify an alphabetical list of financial data into specific categories. So if you look at question 2, you'll see that there is a list of financial data, and we'll look at it shortly. There's a list of financial data, and you have to classify which one is which. Is it a current liability? Is it an uncurrent? Is it current? Is the owner's equity? And so forth. And you do that in Excel. And once you're finished with it in Excel, you then copy that over into your Word document for me. Let me just pause there with question 2. Question 1, just give me a thumbs up or just raise a hand if you're okay with question 1. And question 2, in terms of what needs to be done, you've got an understanding in terms of how you're going to approach it? Yes? No? Awesome. Great. As I said, the session is recorded, so you can always go back on it as well. So question 3, which is financial statement overview. Now we're getting to the interesting part of this assignment. And I can tell you that this is, once you've done this, taken a trial balance and then captured it into your financial statements, you will get to the heart of what accounting is really about. Because let me rephrase. When accounting moves away from just accounting for transactions and accounting of transactions, accounting of cash flow through the business, when it moves from that into what we call financial management. Now, what is management? Management is what we call POC, which is about controlling, leading, and understanding how you interpret things. Once it becomes financial management, now suddenly it becomes a tool, it becomes a management tool that you use. And this is the big separation. Once you get to financial statements, statement of comprehensive income, statement of financial position, now suddenly it becomes so much more than just the accounting of transactions, because that's what accounting is. It's an account of transactions that have taken place within a given period. And that is 40 marks. So you're going to get a trial balance, and I'll show you what the trial balance looks like now, which is just a list of transactions, debits and credits. And then you will take that and you will then convert, or you will move those transactions into a statement of comprehensive income and a statement of financial position. In terms of question 3, you capture the trial balance into Excel. You deduct the debit totals from the credit totals. It must equal 0 before you proceed. You build your template, your statement of income, your financial position. You then insert some formulas to pull those values directly from your value from step one. And then you automate the balance sheet just to check whether everything has come through properly. And then you can review that. So step one, you capture the trial balance into Excel. You build your template, your two templates, income statement. The old income statement is now comprehensive income, and your balance sheet, which is now called financial position. You insert your formulas. You then see how they balance out. And then the final one, which is a business ownership, which is 10 marks. It's only about 300-word essay, which you get 2 case studies, and then you have to decide, given those case studies, what type of business would be most suitable for them and why suitable for them to start. Integration is key, especially for the essay. Substantiate your arguments. Formatting, please make sure that everything is formatted properly. Again, I'll supply you with a template to make that easier so that you at least have something to follow. Arial 12, 1.5 spacing, justified text. I know at SACAP we tend to use unjustified, but justified text in this context, especially for financial statements and this type of course, justified text is a lot better because it neatens up the submission a lot more. In terms of references, a minimum of 2 references, which is skitter and a marked reference. And if there's anything else that you want to add, you can always add that additional reference as well to it. And that's it. You don't need any more references than that. I see Mila has joined us as well. Hello, welcome, Mila.
Hi, sir. Thank you.
In terms of the rubric, referencing is 5%. Again, I'm not going to look at the reference and go, oh, you left out a comma. Oh, you left out a full stop. Oh, you didn't close the brackets. That to me is not important. What is important is that there's an acknowledgement that the work is not your own. So as you're writing that final essay in question 4, you go through it and you reference appropriately. It doesn't have to be perfect. It must just be there. As you move up through 2nd and 3rd year, trust me, then referencing formatting becomes a lot more important. 1st year, for module like accounting and finance, it's not terribly important in terms of the format of the reference, but as long as it's there, because that tells me that you're acknowledging and you understand academic referencing, you understand academic writing to reference the sources that you get from. Literature engagement, 2 to 3 references, 2 references definitely, because it's going to be marks and skitter, but then anything else would be a bonus. Structure, integration, and appropriateness and accuracy, most importantly. All of you know the submissions. 1 day late is -5, 2 days late is -10, but I'm sure that you guys won't need that. So I'm going to give you a template, a Word document that you can follow. Please make sure that question 2 and 3 is calculated in Excel. You copy those images over and put them into Word. Not a minimum of 8, 2 to 3 references is perfect. And you submit both your Word document and your Excel files as part of your final submission. All right, let me just pause there for a minute and take some. All right. Please, if there is any, you can just let me know by email as well, or post them. So just in terms of let me just open up this. Just let me know if you can see the PDF file, if you can see the document I've got in front of me. Just a thumbs up. Awesome. Just in terms of the WhatsApp sort of group, I will put sort of announcements on there, but all the announcements will come via the SACAP online platform. And if I want to make sure that you get it, I'll post it on both sides. So don't use the WhatsApp group and say, oh, but sir didn't post anything on a WhatsApp group, so I didn't know about this or I didn't know about that. I will always use the SACAP online system for communication on the course. Please also use that to email me. If you want to email me directly, you can email through there, because then when you email me, I see the module that you're in. And also it's a good record for us to keep, so that we don't ever get into a place where it is the he said or they said something else. But please do feel free to WhatsApp me as well if there is anything urgent and you're like, please, I need some help with this, or I can't find that. I'm generally on my WhatsApp quite frequently, but there might be a delay in answering that. But please don't use that as the primary means of communication for myself. The WhatsApp group is really a space for you as a class to sort of connect. You can share stuff, you can share links, share the answers to multiple questions. We don't do that. But you can definitely use it as an opportunity to engage with one another. All right. Okay. So assessment 1 is due in week session 6, session 5, which is the following week, Monday, normally at 5 to 12 evening. First question is match the column, and then you've got a whole bunch of multiple choice questions. And so the way you're going to answer this multiple choice question is going to be 1.13, and then there's going to be a number next to it, or a letter next to it, 1.12, 1.12, and then you're going to have bracket A, close bracket. So A, B, C, D. Classification of financial transactions, you're going to put all of these down into Excel, and then you're going to classify all of them in another column next to this. And here's the fun part, which is the trial balance. So you're getting a trial balance. It gives you, it actually gives you the balance sheet section. So it gives you the assets, it gives you the liabilities, and you have to calculate. There's most probably capital, which could be equity, question mark, and you then capture those straight onto your Excel spreadsheet, and then you go from there by calculating and completing a statement of comprehensive income and the statement of financial position. And this is a great exercise. I promise you, once you see it happen in front of your eyes, and it clicks and it balances out, and then it makes absolute sense. Absolute sense. And for me, that is the important part of it. Just let me know if you can see this document. Mastering the accounting cycle. I just want to take you briefly through this. I will also post this as well. Just give me a thumbs up. You can see it. Yes. Oh no, you can still see the assignment. Okay, let me just change that. All right, there we go. Just give me a thumbs up and see. Let me know if you can see the accounting cycle. Infographic, excellent. Like I said last week, everything starts with a transaction. Every accounting entry begins with an event, a sale or purchase, and some document that supports it. Then you've got the accounting equation, which is assets equals liabilities plus equity. So just keep that in mind as we work through this. Now, some of this is for next week, so I'm not going to touch on it too deeply because I'll be going over it again next week. We work on we call it a double entry system, because every event, every transaction, there's always two things that happens. So let me just pause there. I know for us lay people, for you layperson, when we hear the word debit, we think of a minus, and when we hear the word credit, we think of a plus. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. A debit can be a plus or minus, can be addition or subtraction, and a credit can be addition or subtraction. So it can either increase or it can decrease. So debit and credit is nothing to do with plus and minuses. It is a type of transaction that takes place. So it's either a debit transaction or it is a credit transaction. It's nothing to do with one increases and the other one decreases. So there's always two entries that has to take place. There's an event and then there's a destination. Call it the starting and the end. There's always two. And next week we're going to touch a bit more on ADLX, which is this idea. If you understand this, if you just understand this section here, the ADLX system, you get a much deeper understanding of assets, dividends, and expenses, which sits on the debit side of it, and then the liabilities, equities, and revenue, which sits on the credit side of it. And when we talk about T accounts, it is literally a T in the shape of a T. And that is how we post to the general ledger. So every account has a general ledger, a general ledger account number or general ledger description. And as you're posting these things into the general ledger, each one has an account. So for cash, there's a debit and there's a credit side of it, the left and the right side. So where's cash? Cash sits here on the ADX side. So cash is an asset. And when it increases, you write it on the debit side. And when cash decreases, you write that amount on the credit side. So when you get a deposit into your bank account, it's a cash deposit, you would write it on the debit side. And when you have to pay somebody out of the cash account, you write that on the credit side because it decreases. On revenue side, on the cash side, sales revenue, it's a T account, credit and debit as well. Sorry, Gemini seem to have gotten something wrong. I will fix that. So you start off with these postings to the general ledger. That in turn becomes a trial balance. The trial balance then generates, from the trial balance, you generate your P&L or your financial statements, go from there. And that's really, and then you've got the closing entries. And then the process starts again. You've got your ADLX, you've got your cash, you've got your postings to the general ledger. From the general ledger, it goes to the trial balance. And from the trial balance, it goes to the financial statements. The financial statements really is the place where you make decisions, and that is what financial statements are. It is a tool, a management tool that you use to make decisions. And but we'll touch on that as we go through the different sessions for the week. All right. Any other questions?